Hello, welcome everyone. I'm so excited for this conversation today, connection currency, and why relational capital is the new bottom line. We really need to redirect our focus and our energy and time and how we're connecting with others. And before I bring up my amazing guests, I just want to talk about something else that I'm doing to create connection. And that is through the Tomo Tour. I am offering this amazing experience for those who are curious to explore Japan with me. It is coming up in October. There is still time to register, and I only have 2 spots open. And that's because I value intimacy and connection, as we're going to be talking about today. I want people to walk away feeling that they really connected with the culture, with others from a different culture, right? As we are bridging that beautiful relationship to Japan. And the reason why it's called Tomo Tour is because I am introducing my Japanese friends to my American and one French friend that will be joining us. And so we're really bridging that compassion, that the Tomo, the friendship. That's what Tomo means in Japanese. And so this is something near and dear to my heart. So there's a little QR code up there in the right-hand corner. Scan that, check out that. And there's also another wonderful opportunity coming up in a year from now. And it might seem like it's way too far in advance, although it's just right around the corner once you think about it. It is October of 26, and I'm returning to Bali for a restorative retreat and talk about connection. This is all about connecting to ourselves, finding that pause to reset and restore and gain wonderful relationships with others and the beautiful land of Bali. If that's something that you feel called to, again, scan that QR code up there. And this is a funny picture of me. This is actually a blessing ceremony. It's a water purification ceremony at a temple that is 3000 BCE. Did you hear that? People have been pilgrimaging to this temple to connect with the land, to connect to themselves. And it is a beautiful experience. So if that is something that you're feeling called to, please join me, check it out, and bring a friend. It's always good to travel together with a buddy. And I do have the early bird pricing for up until October 10th of this year. So check it out and DM me if you have any questions, because that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm all about. And speaking of being all about, I'm going to bring up our amazing guests here. We have Janice Debo and Michele Smith. Welcome, ladies. Thank you so
Hi.
much for being here with me today on this connection, right? Currency. We're thinking about shifting the ways we relate to each other so we gain more within that connection. And before we dive into this conversation, I've just been excited all week about this. Janice, do you mind sharing a little bit about you and what you do?
That's wonderful. Be glad to. And thank you for having me as your guest, April. I'm Janice Debo. I do personal development training and coaching with entrepreneurs, small to medium sized businesses, and work with them utilizing a unique thing called the path element. So it's a lot of fun. It's a good communication tool. uh, so we can discuss that a little bit. Also, I'm a published author and have my own podcast called Courage, Confidence, and Connections.
Hmm. Yes, and I had the pleasure of being on your show, and it hasn't been launched yet, but it was all fun and exciting too. And so I really appreciate that connection. And you really do, Janice, when you reach out and you are very intentional about who you're connecting with, and that means a lot to me. Yeah. And speaking of intentions, here is Michelle. Michelle, share a little bit about yourself with the audience.
Yeah, so I'm happy to be here. And I'm an executive coach. I do leadership development. Yes, you're hearing some overlap between me and Janice. And we had a lot to talk about when we met and we were in the room together. I've got a background in process improvement, change management, certified in hypnotherapy. I don't hypnotize people, but it actually comes in to understand what's going on with their subconscious. And I'm also partners in an AI consulting business. So I'm just going to weave that into all the other stuff that we're doing. I freaking love helping people, and I'm excited to be here and chat about what we're going to be chatting about. It's cool stuff.
Yes, it is. It really is. And we're also, the three of us are part of the Hounds of Business community, and talk about real, authentic connections. That's what Mike builds for us. He's the founder of the Hounds of Business, along with other amazing members that make up the Hounds of Business. So I found the Hounds of Business, and really, I didn't plan on, the shout out, but I have to, right? Because this is about connection and currency and building that networking with people who truly care and want to level each other up. And I discovered, I was flying solo, and that solo is a no-go. Having people that truly care makes a huge difference. And speaking of people that truly care, I see Lisa's here with us, Lisa Feverek. Thank you so much, friend, for joining us. She is all about menopause and how to help women and also men through their own biological shifts. So she loves supporting community as well. So thank you so much, Lisa, for being here. But we're going back to that conversation of connection currency. And why is that so important in our modern day here? Why do you think this is so relational for everyone? I'm going to have Michele come up here and share your insights on that.
It's interesting when I think about that stuff. So I'm going to go back to the Hounds of Business, your comment, because Mike has said pretty much every time I've been in the room with him, oh, Michelle's the one that got in the back door. Because April left it open, right? And I relate. And so it's what happens is a lot of times is that if to April, to what you were talking about, when we feel like we're going stuff alone and we don't feel like we have the support, or it's almost like, that huge snowball that you're pushing uphill. And it's like, you're like, okay, I can't get it anymore. I can't do it anymore. And then you've got like 10 people that rallied around you to help you push that snowball up that hill. That's what it feels like. And it shows up in a lot of different ways. People invite you onto lives to have conversations about stuff that you're passionate about. People comment on your posts, and not just the like, but they comment. And truth be told, I'm going to get better at that. Okay. To be able to do that for other people. But it freaking feels good. It feels good when you look around, you're like, okay, there's my people are around me. It's like, because there's so much volume of stuff out there. And I was talking about it with, I'm launching a leadership development community in this other space with another coach. And I told her, I said, even when you post things out there, people don't necessarily see them. And so when you start to get that feedback, it's like, okay, so somebody in all this noise and all this everything saw it, noticed it. And there's a validation in that really feels good. And it's motivating to keep going. So that's what comes to mind for me right now in this space that we're talking about. But it goes so much deeper.
It does. It really does. And just those meaningful connections and comments really does help support us and really our well-being as well.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Janice, how about you?
In my experience, I felt like I've always gone it alone in a lot of ways. When I did outside sales and marketing, I had support at the office, but no real cheerleaders. And being in groups like the Hounds, where I met both of you, and actually April, I think two people connected me with Michele. So, so we were meant to meet, and it was. But I just out of the blue, somebody I've never heard of just sent me a message on social media asking me to be a guest on their podcast. And this stuff is just falling out of the sky because I have a few people that have made an effort to get me out there.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I'm always doing that with others as well. But those connections are vital. And it's not necessarily just the first one. It's like when I met April, and April introduced me to Michele, and Michele will probably have somebody in her back pocket she'll introduce me to too. But yeah, back doors, back pockets.
I got a lot of back pockets.
So it's important that we cherish those people that reach out to us. And I too have to get better about commenting on things. I'm really, really working on making an effort to be in that mind space. And we all have busy lives, we all have a lot going on. However, we may never meet face to face most of the people we connect with online in these days and times, but it's important to do your best to have that phone call, text somebody, see how their day's going.
Mm.
So, and it means a lot. It really does. It's important for us to acknowledge each other and be there to support each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, it surely does. I love how you touched upon that, Janice, too. And it really brings us back to I can get really nerdy with neuroscience and wellness because then that offers the endorphins of support. We have those feel good endorphins. We know that people truly care. That is the connection currency. Those are the types of relationships that we want to build. And so working off of that, just thinking the science behind why the connection, it just really accelerates that trust
Mm-hmm.
and that true connection with each other.
Yes.
Uh, what do you have to say about that, Michele? I know that you also kind of dabble in this as well.
I do. It's I'm gonna go to one thing that stood out. Hey Bassy, how are you doing? So I'm gonna go to one thing that stood out, because I've coached a lot of people on getting ready for interviews, and if you think about this, when we step into interviews, it's so freaking important that we make connections with the other humans that are in the room with us. And a lot of times what happens is we button ourselves up. We get all polished and perfect, right? And we talked about perfect offline before we hit record. We get all polished and perfect. And what happens is we energetically put these shields and these walls up. And people can't feel us, who we really are. We're not our natural selves, and what happens is because a connection's not made, we don't necessarily feel other people because they're going to take the cues from us, right? If we're buttoned up, guess what? We're going to get buttoned up back. But when we let it down and we go, you know what? I'm going to go in. This interview is a conversation. I'm going to learn about them. They're going to learn about me. We're going to be able to have a connection. And then people are going to walk away going, oh, that was really cool. And when leaders step in that way, I get the email from them later going, I got the job. People saw who they were.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's the main thing, April and Janice, what we're talking about is in order to connect with other people, we have to show up as us. And we have to have the intention of wanting to connect, which means we're not armored up. We don't have the walls up, but we're actually looking to go, who are you? Here's who I am. And what am I excited about seeing in you? And I get so excited when I'm in the room with other people and they're so authentically them. my whole face just lights up. I'm like, oh my God, you're such a cool human.
Yes.
That's a good for me. And I just wanted to share that because I think it's real stuff for real people as we're navigating life. Don't be afraid to be you, because when you're you, then those connections happen. And then you feel like, okay, I've landed in a really safe space.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I couldn't agree with you more, Michele. And Janice, I want to hear what you have to say in just a second. Although it made me also think about, well, what's happening with the nervous system, right? We're more relaxed, we're more open. We can let that armoring down, or some people say masks, and when we're ourselves, then that's all we need to be wherever we go. We don't have to put on certain masks in different environments or different areas. You can be yourself 100% every time, all the time. And that's where we feel that support within ourselves first. And then that ripples out to the room, to a board meeting, to that interview, to where people also feel comfortable too. Yeah. Janice, I want to hear your words of wisdom here.
Well, I always do a word for the year, and my word this year happens to be authenticity. It's it's so important to be our authentic selves. As a writer and a coach, I do encourage people to if you've got to step out of that comfort zone to be yourself, then do it. It's worth it. I also have found recently that in growing up, I was always put in the limelight because my father was a preacher. And so, as preachers' kids, you got to act a certain way, if you know what I'm saying. And you're always on the hot seat. You're always having to pretend. If you're not in a good mood, you got to pretend and put a smile on your face. So authenticity never came into play when I was growing up. And so it can be a learned skill. But you have to start with people you trust. I would encourage anybody looking to make genuine connections, start with people you trust and go from there before you get on stage with a stranger, because
Yeah.
because if you can't just relax. And it was cute the other day, I was talking to April, and we were talking about breath work and such like that she does. And I started yawning. I said, I'm not bored, I promise. And she started explaining that my system was letting my guard down, the parasympathetic nerve. That she's the techie one on that. However, truth be told, I'm very relaxed with her. But you've got to learn to be your authentic self. Find those you can trust, and let that guard down enough to let somebody see who you really are.
Well, April has that. You have that calming about you, just the cadence of what you're saying, and you're in the room, you're like, oh, life is good.
Start yawning, Michele.
That's the whole. That's April's vibe.
Oh, I appreciate you, Michele and Janice. And this is why we show up and do the work, isn't it? This is why we want to make those connections and this relational, right? Building those relationships, because that's the momentum that keeps going. And that's how we expand the collective consciousness. We all are connected. And I truly believe there are a lot of people out there that are siloed, that are just thinking, okay, I do finance, or I do coaching, or I do health, and they don't see the overlap. And this is why I bring on amazing people such as you, beautiful souls, to share your wisdom so people can think outside the box. As I think, Michele, you got something behind you, right? That says something like that.
It's think outside, no box required.
Okay.
Yeah.
No box required. Yep.
It serves as a constant reminder for me. And then in the background is a frog with big glasses. My dad had a saying. You talk about connections. My dad had a saying. People would ask him, Rich, how are you doing? He goes, fine as frog's fur. And the response to people are like, rich frogs don't have any fur. And he goes, yeah, yes, they do. It's just really fine. So then because Dad would say that, people started collecting frogs for him. So he's passed away.
Oh,
This frog has
still with
super big
you.
glasses. And so I've literally got my father with me every day.
Yes, I
Awesome.
absolutely love that. And so I just want to ask, right? I'm going to ask Janice here. Janice, what would you say then would be, especially since we're talking about transition, right? Transforming, right? From transactional, basically, relationships to transformational. What would be a roadmap that you could kind of map out for our viewers and listeners of how to shift from those transactions of thinking we have to, uh, pitch everybody that we see,
No
right?
pressure. No
No,
pressure.
no pressure. Right. Well, one of my pet peeves, and this is a big one, I had many conversations with people about this, and that is getting, I can make a connection with somebody on social media, and the first thing they do is throw up all their stuff they do. And like, so I have a pet peeve about that. And sometimes I let them know that, nope, that's not professional. I'm not interested if you don't want to know about me. You start with the being more interested in the other person. Now, if you've got two people that are more interested in each other, that could be a challenging conversation, but it'll be fun too, right? We learn about each other that way. But I think one of the primary key things to be aware of is not just talking about yourself, how wonderful you are, and I'm sure you are. That's not a problem, but ask about that other wonderful person that's on a call, it's on the camera, in the coffee shop with you. Just be more genuinely interested in them. If it means asking about what do they do for, I'd stay away from the do for a living right out of the gate, but
Yeah.
because that'll open that door. However, asking about, well, where do you live? Do you have kids? What do you like to do for fun? Make it conversational and engaging, so that they'll eventually get to what they do, and so will you. But if you don't open that door, with a lot of us, it just shuts people down. You do that pitching stuff, you just shut people down.
Exactly.
It's like asking to get married on the first date.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, this is our first date. I'm not ready for marriage.
Or you know what, you might want to, on the dating thing, I've been dealing with some of this in the last year. So I just shut it down right away. It's the I I know how to shut a guy down pretty quick, honestly. It's not mean, but they come out of the gate trying to sell themselves, as far as, I have kids, I do this, I do that, I love this. And the afterthought is, oh, what about you? I'm like, so it's the same rule in dating. You don't show up to the first call with a diamond ring.
Mm,
Just don't
Well,
do it.
exactly.
Well, I mean, you could, and she might say, no, take the ring and hawk it. I mean, there you go.
Yes, that's a big red flag, right? Big
Oh,
red
yes.
flag. We would
Oh,
just run for the hills on that for
yep.
sure. Michelle, how about you? What
it's
would that
interesting.
roadmap kind of look like? Or
Yeah, it's, and I was joking around, but serious about no pressure. When I think about the transactional thing versus transformational, it's a matter of intention, right? So
Mhm.
are we going into this, and it to me, the difference is, are we going into this to check the box of reached out, gave my stuff, or are we going into it to actually build our community, right? To really, and to your point, Janice, understand and learn about the other person. So when I hear both things, I'm like, what's your intention? Start with that.
Mhm.
And let that lead you. And so if you want more, right, than just this transaction, this moment in time, it's like someone that actually knows that you can look at. Because I love now, I have so many humans that I've connected with on LinkedIn and Facebook, that I've never seen. People that I've had as a guest. So I have a podcast too, Leadership Soundbites. And so I've connected with them. I know them. We've never been in the room together, most of them. And yet they're like an old friend.
Mm.
When I see their posts on LinkedIn or comments that they'll make, it's like Kyle McDowell, okay, someone who wrote the book Begin With We. He was on the podcast. There's shorts that go out. And so he went and said, hey, check out my friend Michele Smith, but we've never been in person together. And so I encourage people to say who think that, well, you can't have friendships or connections virtually. I'm going to say BS.
Yeah.
Because you can, because you can feel the energy in the room. And I've had these conversations with clients that go, well, it's virtual. It's not the same as in person. No, it's not the same, but we still have energy. And I'll ask them, I said, can you feel my energy? Well, yes. And I said, there you go.
Yes.
So set the intention that you want it to be more than just this moment in time and a checklist. And then guess what? You'll show up differently because where focus goes, energy flows. Tony Robbins.
Exactly.
Just want to share that.
I love that. And it truly is. What is our intention when we're showing up to anything? And this is, I want everybody to hear this. This is in our personal life and professional life.
Exactly.
How are we showing up? How do we want to feel at the end of the day? Not making it about the other person and their reactions, because we can't change them. The only person that we can change is ourselves. So when we show up authentically, as we've been talking about, and be curious about making those connections, then that's where the currency comes in. And the energy, and it transforms into blossoming, relationships. We don't have to be in the same room. We don't have to be in the same city or even in the same country. Even I've had amazing connections with people through LinkedIn, and we're all human. We're all human, and that's what we crave, is that connection. So yes, how are we showing up? Yeah, I just really appreciate that. And even just breaking that down a little bit more as we talk about this, we then become a magnet, don't we? We're attracting more. So Janice, what have you noticed? I think, we kind of touched about this with the hounds and things, but other relationships or other ways, how have you discovered that you're kind of more of a magnet when you come into conversations and things, being more curious and not trying to marry somebody on the first date?
Oh boy. Well, and on that note, you opened that door, so I've just got to say this.
Yeah, say it.
Yeah, I'm saying it. So when I get approached by some guy, if you will, you never know if this is a real person or not, right? We've been down that road. But
I'm assuming it's virtual and not in person.
Virtual, yeah. And my first question was,
Michele.
yeah, really. So my first question is typically, not always, but typically, it's like, what is your intention in wanting to be friends with me? What is your intention? And honestly, I've gotten, well, I'm looking for a life partner, and I'm like, oh, this is so sad. You're looking for that on social media, but anyway.
Yes.
Hey, look, I just put it out there. What can I say?
No judgment. No judgment.
I mean, really, I'm pretty straightforward, and I've been through enough in life, and now I can't even remember your question. Shoot. Oh.
about transactions and building those relationships.
Well, I'm obviously all over social media and have a lot of activity with a lot of different people on different platforms. And what I found by just being real and showing interest in other people is they're connecting me all the time. I'm always getting introductions and great reviews and recommendations. So just by being yourself, people like Michele mentioned, yeah, they can feel your energy. And when I used to do in-person sales calls, the door-to-door stuff, I don't know if you guys ever dealt with that, but you walk into a door and you've got the gatekeeper. That's what we used to call them anyway. And so if that person senses you're just there to make a sale, and believe me, it'll be in your face, it'll be in your body language, versus like bringing an apple to the school teacher. Like I really care. So in the old days, it was walking in the door, meeting the receptionist, and trying to get in to see the decision maker. Well, it had to be relational because they can pick up very easily. The can I use the used car salesman approach?
Sure.
We've probably all been there, done that, and
I
that's
was actually a car salesman for a while.
Oh
oh
my
my,
goodness. Oh, we need to hear
oh my gosh, yeah,
your
no
dollars
kidding.
worth, not just 2 cents, Michelle, after Janice is done with this.
Oh yeah. So I back to that. People can detect that, and what's happened for me is getting more and more connections, and more people interested in me when I'm more interested in them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, for sure. Okay, Michelle, I
I
really want
gotta
to
hear
hear
this.
this. I did not
Okay,
even know
this
that you
was
sold
this this
cars.
was this was years ago, and I did it for 4 months. And it was so long ago that this is in San Diego, there were no female car salespeople. It was this
Oh,
Chevy dealership. And so I got hired. I had no car sales experience. I had done sales of other things, but not cars. And so the first month out, I actually made number 2 in sales
oh
because, to
wow.
your point, it was about, I cared about the people and the connection. It wasn't the, to your point, Janice, the sales car mentality.
Mhm.
And then the next month they hired a bunch more women. It's like, clearly that's why I made sales. But you talk about connections. It was interesting. I remember one night, and the whole saying of you can't judge a book by its cover.
Mm.
Don't judge people. Don't judge the stuff, right? Be open to learning more about them, and don't go, oh, they're in a different industry, I'm not so sure about that. Or they're a marketer. And if they're a marketer and what they do is, work with coaches, they're still a human behind that. So to your point, Janice, as long as they don't lead with this crazy,
Mhm.
pitch out of the gate, I'm gonna get to know you. But anyway, so this one night I'm working at the car lot. And it was Chevy dealer, and then we also had used cars. But this guy comes in on a bicycle in San Diego, and it was like roaches when you turn the light on. They just all the other salespeople, right, gone. And so I went over there and chatted with the guy and stuff, and we talked, and he was looking, for different things. And so that night he loaded that bicycle up in his brand new truck because he was lieutenant in the Navy.
Oh my
so
goodness.
So it was, but one of those things is don't come with preconceived notions
Yeah.
about stuff. Just be open to learning and discovering about people. I worked at, when I was a kid, I think I was 17. So I graduated high school a year early. I was bored. Um, so I got a job at Hubacher Cadillac, so a Cadillac dealership, as a receptionist. And they had that freaking PBX phone with all these dots
Oh,
on it. It was crazy. It's back in the day. But anyway, I'm working one night, and in comes, again, about impressions and connections. Don't judge people. In comes this guy in overalls, right? Not coveralls, but overalls with the straps and the whole thing. That night, he drove out of the dealership with his new Cadillac that he paid cash for.
Hmm. You
So
just
it's
never
one of
know.
those things
you don't
is
know.
you don't know. So just be open to learning about people, like Janice was talking about, and really cool things will happen. Just be curious.
Hmm.
Curiosity is a superpower.
Yeah, that's right.
It really is. It
Yeah.
really is. This is how I am where I'm at. It's the curiosity. I had to put the little roaches down there and the little thing for you, Michelle.
That's funny.
That's what happened. They just scattered. It's like, okay, not worth my time.
Oh,
Oh
so
my
and
goodness.
and this is why we show up and we can see the value in people. We can see them for
Yeah.
who they are because we're coming in authentic.
Mm-hmm.
We're coming in being curious, having more clarity of what it is that not necessarily that we're wanting or we're driving the conversation, although it's important to have that focus, right? And that clarity of putting our attention on our intention of creating these amazing connections. This is where that true relational capital comes in, because this is how people refer you to others, how you make that sale, how, you connect with people that get to know you, Janice, and it's like, oh, there's a no frills woman. I want to introduce you to her because she's not gonna, give you all the BS type of
Yeah.
stuff.
No.
We want that. We want people to know and to allow them to witness those parts of themselves as well. And that's where I love to support my clients with that sanctuary of support. So that way they know they can let their guard down. They can relax and ease into it. And, it can be a little wonky for some people. If they've been riding, a two-wheeler bicycle, I just can imagine that guy riding his bicycle into the dealership. And then you give him a unicycle, it's still a cycle, but it's only one wheel, right? And so instead of trying to balance juggling two wheels, even a juggler, right, just having one ball, I'm kind of going all
I
over
could
the place
juggle
here.
one ball. I could juggle one
Right?
ball.
Then isn't it so much easier? Isn't it so much easier instead of people trying to be somebody else or trying to have a transactional relationship instead of transformational one, although it takes a little bit to pause and reflect when the old BS, when the old belief systems come in, because those are protective. Our minds are trying to protect us because we're in that fight, flight, freeze of, I need this sale, I need this to work in order to get X, Y, and Z. Yeah.
It's interesting that you were talking, and the stuff that comes up is around this whole with connections. There's questions that I go into it with is, and I go into it with every room that I'm in, is what can I learn from them? Because even though it's like Janice and I do similar things, we do similar things differently, right?
Yes.
We try and help people and go through it. And so I love learning and growing. And it's like I was a conversation the other day with somebody who was, probably my granddaughter's age or somewhere in there. And she made a comment when we were on Zoom meeting. And she goes, wow, maybe I'm too young, to be on the podcast with you. And I said, what are you talking about? I said, it's not a number thing. It's not an age thing, right? It's about experiences. And she had grown up in India and is currently living in Dubai. Okay, my experience is nothing with what you went through. And I can learn from you. And others that I'm in the room with can learn from you. And so the other thing that comes to mind for me with connections and people that takes it beyond like the checkbox thing is, where's the opportunity for collaboration?
Exactly.
That's the other thing, because it takes learning from someone to a whole nother level.
It does.
So anyway.
It sure does. And there's a big mindset shift there.
Yeah, but or mindset, if you want to put them both together.
I love that. We got a new word there. Good job there, April.
Mindset.
Thank you, April Wyatt.
We got to quote that. That's going out there. It's out there in the universe now.
Yep, it's in the universe.
It's April's.
April created a new word.
Yep.
I'm a big fan of collaboration, and I wrote an article sometime back about that. It's been years ago, and I'd have to go look for it, but it was all about, and I actually did a workshop, competition or collaboration, based around that whole topic, because you're expanding your world, and if we just keep our eyes on that dollar sign and this, if we don't think somebody can bring an economic value to us, then we're losing out. We are absolutely losing out. I had another instance yesterday where somebody I've had one conversation with and he wrote me a stunning review, but also he's asked to do a workshop with me,
Oh,
collaborate on it.
cool.
I know, and these things are just coming out from just getting to know folks. It
Hmm.
and in our culture, we do tend to put that dollar sign on
Hmm.
everything, and you're not paying me for my time, and so,
Yeah.
but if we take that out of the whole picture and just collaborate and see what comes out of it, and without our guard being up, like we've talked about, defensiveness is so prevalent these days, and I've had my run with it too. And I mean, obviously, not just business but personal. The whole thing is we can expectations and defensiveness are really big topics in nowadays.
You know what? It reminds me of I was in the process improvement world for a long time. I still am, but I mean, not as the main job. Um, but it's what we would say is don't focus on the ROI, don't focus on the dollars, focus on the improvement, increasing value, right?
Yeah,
Hmm.
And the rest of it will come.
it will.
And so, as long as your focus is on something else, the rest of it will come.
Yes, it always does. It
It
always
will.
does because I'm a firm believer in, the as we project out, such as you said, Michelle, you said it in a way, you say it a little differently than I do, where our attention goes, energy flows.
Hmm.
And so that our intentions of showing up, being curious, as we're talking about all these amazing techniques and tools, it takes us some time though to reshift, right? Shift the script, shift of how we are showing up, how we want to feel. And as we do so, we find more value in ourselves. And then, so as we find that value in ourselves and we are radiating that out, then others resonate with that. And then our whole dynamics of the social pools or those types of situations, it shifts. New people come in, other people kind of migrate out, and that's fine. That's
Hmm.
actually perfect because
Mhm.
we are meant to grow and expand throughout life, and it is through connections. I am 100% certain about that.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And it's about co-creating community, as I love to say.
Yeah.
Yes. So before we leave, this was such a really inspirational conversation and funny. I love chatting with you ladies, the true realness of all the things. Yeah. Janice, how are you working with your clients and getting a little bit more? I'm trying to work this out here. Where are we?
You're good.
What's
We're moving
happening here?
around. We
We're
are
just
moving and
floating around.
shaking.
We're
We're
floating
floating
around.
around. Yeah. Janice, how what have you noticed with either yourself or your clients as you're really connecting on that authentic space? What do you notice the shifts either for yourself or your clients?
I do. I do make help them make connections, and I find that what we need just pops up in front of us. One instance, not too long ago, I was working with this gal that she's worked with me for some time. She's a woman in construction, and that is a tough road to hoe. I'll tell you that.
Hmm.
And in that discussion, I was like, "You've got to delegate some things. You've got to." So I said, "What do you want to start first with?" And she goes, "Getting the financial, the books all out of my lap, you know." So it was, I think it was that day or the next day in one of my feeds on social media, I this gal just popped right up and commented on something I wrote. And so that started a conversation. Turns out she was a woman with experience in construction and a bookkeeper. So she understood the whole process and the need of my client. And that just, I just had myself in the right place at the right time
Hmm.
to be able to get that link. And now they're, she's a great for my clients. She's worked out great. She's even she's referring people to me.
Mm.
We, yeah.
That's amazing. And I just want to say something, Janice, that
Mhm.
you just weren't in the right place at the
No.
right time. Or some people say, oh, I was lucky about that. No, we're talking about the magnetism. We're talking
Mhm.
about your
Yes.
intentions and working with people. And this is why these collaborations, these shifts, this expansion is happening. And I'm sure Michele has some golden nuggets to share too.
Well, it's so funny you say that, and
Mhm.
someone asked me one time, my role and stuff, and I said one of my main roles is I'm a connector,
Mhm.
and so and when we set that intention for ourselves, at some level our subconscious is scanning, and to your point, we're going to connect with the right stuff, and you're like, okay, I'm looking for this, and then boom, this shows up. And it's like Facebook does, right? Like the internet does, but not in a creepy way.
Right.
It's like in a better way. But when you set your intention out there, you can call it manifestation, you can call it whatever you want. But this is what I want. This is what I'm looking for. And the expectation is it's going to come. It shows up invariably. Think about it. If you don't even
Yes.
label it that way, it's happened.
Mhm.
But the other thing that comes to mind for me too is, and I'm going to go back to it. I know I said it before. Just be open to things being different.
Oh yeah.
If you're feeling this, and I'm going to call it desperation energy.
Mhm.
I've got to make the sale. I have to do this. I have to do that. You're literally only putting yourself in a space to connect with the same like energy, other
Yes.
desperation.
Yes.
So it's not about faking it till you make it, but it's literally about stepping in and knowing that, let the fear go, acknowledge it and let it go. But it's like, I have confidence knowing that I'm going to move forward. I'm going to make connections. I'm going to be authentically me. I'm going to have a plan. It's not like you're sitting on your couch waiting for stuff to happen. And trust that when you stay in the place of happiness, and I'm going to go back to Sean Aker, if I know everything about your external environment, I can only predict 10% of your future happiness. It is an inside job. So be happy first as a baseline. And I don't mean that it's like, oh my gosh, it's like, just be happy. Nothing else needs to change. I'm worthy, I'm happy, everything's great. And step into the world that way and engage with people that way. And then people will get curious about what you have going.
Exactly.
Instead of this, hi, I've got to get married, right? So I mean,
We went there again. Okay.
yeah, we have to. We have to come back to that, Janice.
Yeah, we do.
Don't try and marry somebody on the first date. It's just not going to work.
No, it's not going to work. No, but
Exactly.
speaking of funny stories, before we wrap it up, April, I've got a.
I
I've
want
got
to hear more, Janice.
Oh, I know. I was in sales for a large office equipment dealer for quite a long time, and one of my main biggest accounts was a car dealership. As it
Wow,
turned out,
see, we're connected.
I know,
You
and
see
they
these
sold
connections?
Chevrolet. That was a Chevrolet dealer,
There
and
you go.
yep, and they tried to hire me, but I didn't like the
This
way
is
that was
probably after
done.
I was hired.
Yeah, probably after you set the you set the standard
I
there.
did.
Uh, but this was in North Carolina, so I'm not sure. But
There
the
comes
universe,
San Diego. But word spreads. Word spreads, Janice.
yes, it does. It does. There was a crow flying around there somewhere.
Well, our energy is contagious too.
Yes.
Everybody, I'm sure, has felt that when we walk in a room and you can just feel when something's off, or somebody doesn't even say anything and just to leave them alone, or you gravitate towards them. It's like, oh, I want to hear more about Michele. There's something about her. I'm curious about her, or Janice. So remember that, set our attention on our intention of how we're making these connections, because it is currency. It is how we want to connect with others. It makes such a big difference. It does in our lives and other people's lives as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Can
as
you know the
we,
rest of Janice's story? I'm
oh,
interrupted.
I did.
Well,
Janice,
really,
complete it.
okay.
Well, she paused.
I
She
paused.
talked about the crow flying.
I interrupted.
I know. She just jumped right in. What can I say? And And so we need a hall monitor who can talk next. Uh,
I just need to follow the rules.
I'm a rebel too, so there you go. So anyway, I at that point when they were trying to hire me, and I knew that was not. I didn't even know the word alignment back then, but I knew it didn't fit for me. But not long after that, I walked into a little bookstore in North Carolina, and I had just been in sales for a short period of time, but I didn't like the way I'd been trained. It was very, pitchy and like a used car salesman, since we're on
Hmm.
that topic.
Yeah.
Um, but this book just jumped right out. It's called Relationship Selling. Well,
Mm.
that took my career to a whole new level in a
Mhm.
on a upward trend, not downward trend. But I learned that what I was most comfortable with was being relational with people, and
Mhm.
that
Mm.
really changed the dynamics of my business.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the true currency for
It
sure.
is.
And so, since I have you up there, Janice, can you tell people how to reach out to you if you have any upcoming events happening?
JaniceDebo.com is pretty easy. You can book a consultation. You can send me an email there from the website or copy it from the screen here. And I think there's a free ebook on my website too. So if you scroll down, you can just pop that in there and get yourself a free ebook. I have a lot of blogs and podcasts. I'm always looking for guests to be on my podcast, and I'm always looking to be on others like this.
Yeah.
So we can do that. We can chat about my book as well. But just go to my website or send an email and we can connect. I'd love to connect with anybody out there, see if I can be of any assistance. And again, Michele and I had a great conversation. We don't really overlap, we complement each other, we collaborate.
Thank
For
you. Yeah.
sure. I can
It's
see that.
fun.
That's why I have you both on here.
It's funny. It's funny.
Yeah. And Michele, how about
Um,
you?
yeah,
Anything
so
new
reach
coming
out.
up?
Yeah, well, what do I have coming up? So next week on the AI consulting space is one of my partners and I are doing a 6-hour virtual training. It's 2 hours each day across 3 days for Microsoft Copilot. And so we're going to be in the room. It's on Zoom. It's only $197. And if those dates don't work for you, you have the recording.
Oh
But it's so
my.
much better if you're live in the room because then we can work with you. So we're going to be doing hands-on, and so it's the teaching concepts, and then you're going to be applying it yourself. So you walk away with skills, and it's just like step in. If you haven't done it before, there's so much more that you can do in that space. So that's that. The other thing is hot seat coaching. It's another live event that I do, and that's coming up August 28th. LinkedIn live event. So you can check it out on my profile page within LinkedIn. And then I think that's it for stuff coming up for me. If you want leadership development with your team on a variety of topics or individual coaching, just reach out. If you're not sure what the offers are or what's for you or whether or not it's for you, reach out because we can do a quick discovery call, 20 minutes. I can send you a link. In fact, you can do it on the website and you'll see that, book a call and then you can book a discovery call and let's chat. Let's chat. So I look forward to helping you. And I
Sounds
have the
good.
podcast. So if you're a leader or somebody with a story like Janice has in April, let me know because I can have you on the podcast. It's every week. It's called Leadership Soundbites. So thank you for the time, April, and the
Yes,
conversation, Janice. It's been
thank you so
super fun to
much.
be in the room with you.
It's been
And I know we
wonderful.
did a lot of squirrel chasing, April, but
We had a lot of fun for sure, ladies. I so appreciate each and every one of you. And I'm looking forward to more, right?
Mhm.
This isn't it. This is just the
Yeah,
beginning of all the things that we get to co-create and collaborate with.
Yes.
So I appreciate you all. And I'm going to um, just end with a little live stream video. And I will see everyone um, sooner than later next week. So be well, my friends. And I'm just bringing up this end outro and we'll see what happens here, right? We never know what's going to happen.
cool.